Starting. All right, and we are back with the Low Post Podcast. It's week 2. Tyler
Mhm.
Krusz, Brian Heston. Brian, how we doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. You're not wearing any Legacy Leagues gear, are you?
No, I'm actually wearing a Nike.
Yeah, I'm
Especially, it's
wearing.
kind of cold in my room.
I
So
think I'm in Champion, but they always get on me on the
yeah,
post game show for not wearing my Legacy Leagues gear. I need more, Joey. Like he needs to give me
yeah.
more stuff.
I
But
got I got the quarter zip that he gave. Those are nice. I like wearing
those are
that.
those are nice. And I have the polo, and then I have the T-shirt. But I
Yeah,
want my own warm up that says like Super Intern or something. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. You should get on him about that.
But week 2 games, pretty exciting.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
started with
definitely.
what I thought was I thought you guys and Boom played probably the best game of the week that I saw,
Yeah,
other than Swish Boston. It was a really good defensive game, and then it just kind of blew up at the end, not in
hmm
your favor. So maybe
yeah.
still a sour taste. But if you want to talk about
No,
that one from a player's
yeah. I'd
perspective,
rather talk about that one first. Rip the Band-Aid
yeah,
off.
let's just get it out of the way.
Yeah. Um, but I think part of the reason we lost was it was mismanaged on our end. I think well, me and Gino really didn't have much going, but Dave had a really good game, and I don't think we benefited enough from that. I think that second quarter, I know you guys mentioned on the post game show, we took him out a little early, and he
Hmm.
seemed a little frustrated about that.
And he was on the
And
bench to start the fourth.
yeah, well, we had him on the bench to start just so then we could finish out the game with him.
Hmm.
Um,
No, to start the fourth quarter.
yeah, but yeah, we just had
Yeah,
him
yeah.
get him a quick rest
Okay.
because I think he put him into
All
the
right.
third, and then but either way, I think that was mismanaged on our end because I just felt like we should have played him more, and um, that was on our end. But
So
that's not to discredit Boom. They're obviously a good team. I would say it's not their strongest team that they've had. I don't think that's really a hot take,
no, that's
but
not a hot take at all. I'd agree, and I'm very vocal about that too. I mean, they need.
yeah,
I feel like they need one guy like Stitchell to put them back to where they were last year. Not that they're not a good team, but
no,
you
yeah,
lose a superstar like that, and it's obviously you're not going to be the same.
and obviously Boom is a good team. They've had our number for the past few seasons now, so I'll credit them there. And we've really done a good job in the past seasons of limiting Lucas, and now he went off against us.
Hmm.
Jeremy D'Amico had a really good game, 16 boards again, which is pretty huge for them to have that presence grabbing rebounds. Because without him, I think he's probably a better rebounder than D'Amico. I
Then
can't think.
Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor. Yeah, I think
Trevor
he's
was
probably
just
a
a
better
really good
rebounder.
scorer. He
Yeah.
was very good at attacking the rim. But I agree. And they tweeted, "How can you talk about us and not mention D'Amico as if we like didn't mention him on the post game?" I said their bigs played very, very well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he's gonna be huge for them. As long
yeah.
as he can continue to get double-digit rebounds, they're gonna be all right. I don't think they
Well,
really need him to score a lot,
I
but
think
yeah.
it compares, I think, a little to URI basketball. I may be a little biased in my comparison there, but Cyril Langevine's really one of their only good
Yeah.
bigs. Jeremy's really the only guy getting boards for them. He's really their only
Mhm.
tall player, so all the boards are going to come to him. They do a great job at boxing out, and it all comes to him. But I wanted to ask you a question about Dave. You mentioned him, and I
Mhm.
know it makes sense to bring a talent like that off the bench. I'm not questioning anything about that. But if you had started him, maybe do you think you win that game? If you had
Um,
you, him, and Gino on the floor to start the
yeah,
game and play most of
I
the
was
game.
actually thinking about that before we went on the show, but we really don't know what we're gonna do as far as when it comes to Dave and his minutes because in past season it's really just been me and Gino are the ones who need a lot of minutes, and then after that, everyone kind of plays an even amount. So now having another guy that needs to play a lot is a good problem to have.
Yeah,
I'll say that. Um, but I think it just for us it might make sense to start him a little bit. We might experiment with that at some point in the season, but it also does make a lot of sense for us to have him off the bench because if we start Gino and then I get a quick break at the end of the first. We bring Dave in, he gets a few minutes with Gino, and then I get some minutes with Dave, and then it just kind of works like that.
hmm,
But it might make sense at some point for us to start us three, and then have to deal with a few minutes of only one of us out there, or
yeah.
yeah,
And there are a
so
lot of successful teams that bring some of their best players off the bench. I'm pretty sure Stitchell came off the bench for Boom
yeah,
a lot last year, and it does work in your favor. But at times, you're gonna want your three best players on the court at the same time. So
Yeah,
it's
and we
kind of
want him. We want to definitely close with us three on the floor,
yeah,
and that's
it's
what we
kind of a
tried to do.
balancing act.
Yeah,
And enough about you guys. No offense. Boone played a pretty all right game.
yeah.
Like
I feel like this
it was a
game.
very defensive game up until Lucas decided that okay, I'm just gonna make every single three I take, no matter where I take it. It
Yeah, I
was
feel like I feel like this game was pretty predictable that it would end in a blowout because I felt like each team throughout the first three quarters was missing opportunities that they normally hit,
mhm.
and it was just a matter of which team will figure it out in the fourth, and it was Lucas Martin who did it for us, and that
Yeah,
was
but I
great.
mean,
That was one of the best performances I've seen
oh,
in
without a
Legacy.
doubt from him. That
Yeah,
and his game in the playoffs and against Lob City or
yeah,
Green Squad or whatever you want to call it a couple years ago where he just
yeah,
went off. But I mean, you look at the game heading into the fourth quarter. You
hmm
guys were ahead by 1 point if I'm
yep,
doing the math
yep.
correct. And
39,
then
39-38.
they scored 30
Yeah,
in the fourth. I mean, I don't think that's predictable at all. No offense. I just don't think
yeah,
with the way that game was going, I thought it was going to be a grinded out game. Really, whoever
mhm,
kind of gets hot will end up winning. Whoever goes on this mini run, but they like Lucas just decided, all right, I'm going to take over the game, and I think he kind of has to do that now without Nate there, without Trevor there. And I mean, it's him, Belleville, and Ferguson is a lot different than him, Trevor, and Stitchell. He's really
yeah,
your main outside of the 3 point line. He's your main guy to lock in on defense, and he's like
yeah.
he's the main guy that is expected to score.
Yeah, but as a shooter, since I mean obviously he knows he's a shooter. As a shooter, it's actually probably easier for him
Mm-hmm.
because he knows that the weight is on him a little bit. So it might be easier for him to not like lose confidence because I feel like sometimes last year, if he misses his first few shots, then it just becomes the Nate Stitchell show
Yeah,
and he doesn't get any more touches. Whereas this year, if he misses his first few shots, he's not going to lose his confidence because he knows he's still getting the ball. And the rest of the team trusts him to still be throwing up threes that, whether they're good shots or not, they're probably going in.
yeah, and he's gonna be their player this year
Mhm.
without a doubt.
Yeah,
Without a
and
doubt, and
I
I think
think
he's
he
gonna be one
needs
of
to
the bigger
score.
scorers in the league.
He probably needs to score 20 to 25 a game, complemented by 15 from Belleville, and then probably they need 15 out of Cole Ferguson too. And we
Mhm.
know those guys can put up 15. I know
Yeah.
Cole, he can put up 15, he can put up 25. Some games he will do that if Lucas has an off game.
That
But
was
I
my
think
first time seeing Cole, and he was like he was a different kind of player. The way he moves and
yeah,
the way his footwork is just it's different. Is that tough to guard?
I think he has a pretty similar play style to me where
Yeah.
he's not really going to be a good shooter on these low rims and he's going to get large chunk of his points from slashing or pulling up from mid range. So I think it was kind of easy for us to guard that because we know, like, I know how to guard a player like that. I am a player like that. And
Hmm.
then we also have guys like Dave and Jared did a good job on him and Matt. Like, we have big bodies that are similar in frame to Cole. So it's kind of tough. It's kind of
Jared's
easy.
kind of become one of your better, not better players, but one of your main guys the last couple of years or the last couple of
Yeah.
sessions.
hmm And one thing I want to mention too, I know you guys talked about it on the post game show. I think it was Jeremy, right? That's the kid's name. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, he said like he could tell that me and Dave had been playing together for a while.
Hmm.
That was actually the first time I think ever that him and I have ever been on the same court playing again
I
with
didn't
each
want to
other.
say anything, but I knew you guys weren't from the same town.
Yeah, no, it's just we've known each other for a while, but we never actually been on the same team, so it's just funny.
Yeah,
And
and
we
you
had
guys
a
look
nice lob,
you look good.
so
Yeah, you made the top five twice. Your team.
yeah, Connor had a big
With
lob.
Connor's block. That was an unbelievable block. But moving
hmm
on, people are going to be listening to this podcast and be like, "All right, Brian comes on here and only talks about his team."
Yeah, yeah, right.
After that first game, we split up. You went over to court three. I
Yep.
was over on court one. How was life over there on court three on the other side of the
Um,
Johnston Rec
so
Center?
we had started at 9 o'clock. We had Lob City and Jay's boys, and actually, I think the ending is pretty predictable
The
that
box
Lob would
score, yeah.
win by a lot. But actually, the Jay's boys kind of kept it close in the first quarter, and I'll give them credit for that. They came out firing threes and they were hitting a lot, and at the end they ended up shooting 9 for 34 from three, but they still shot a pretty good percentage in the first quarter and were kind of staying in it. And it felt like maybe they could have put together a good performance, but I think just the pace that Lob City plays at was just too fast for the DJ's boys, and the pressure that Lob put on the ball was just too much for them. You see, Greg Holt had 6 steals. I mean, as a team, they had 15 steals, and just that's kind of not a recipe for success if
Yeah,
you're the
that's what they
DJ's
do
boys.
though.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of have to play at a slower pace when you play Lob,
You
and
have
it's
to
easier said
control the
than
pace when you play lob, and that means
done. Yeah.
taking the control away from them, which is extremely hard to do. But as you
Well,
said,
you said
they started hot from three. I talked to a couple of the Duyes boys. I think that's how you say it. I have
yeah.
absolutely no idea.
I'm
But
gonna keep calling them DJ's boys, but
I know I
whether it's
said it
right or
wrong on the
not,
2 minute drill. I forgot. I think it's Duyes, but I
yeah.
don't know. It's not important. But I talked to a couple of them. They said they got hurt in the second half or something. But I mean that's not going to change much. You might be able to hang with Lob City in the first 8 minutes of a game, but
Mhm.
eventually that's just not going to last. They're fast. They keep the pressure on for all 40 minutes, and we have yet to see a team be able to just counter that.
Yeah. And I think this year you might see. I don't know. The one team that I think really could cause trouble for Lob at the moment, I think, is Halfway Crooks, and we'll get
Yeah.
to them. Um,
I've been hearing so much about the halfway crooks lately.
yeah, but anything else? I'm just looking at the box score still. DJ's boys, I think they'll be all right. They've had a tough schedule to start.
Mhm.
They'll find their way as the season goes on,
Yeah,
and
Kutu's a great player.
yeah,
I've
he's
played with
definitely their
Lugo
best
when he gets
player.
his when once he gets his shot figured out on the low rim. If he gets his shot
Mhm.
figured out on the low rim, I think he'll be good for about 15 a game. He's fast
Yeah.
and he's a lefty too, so that adds
Mhm.
something. But they need something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I
They
think
played
towards the end we can kind of look at the standings and say who we're worried about at this point. But I don't think I'm too worried about them at the
yeah.
moment. And then obviously Lob, they are clearly the best team until proven otherwise, and that is still the case.
Yeah, it's always like that with Lob.
So
But
on the other court, you had the halfway crooks, right?
yeah, I did have the halfway crooks. They looked really good with their size. They looked really good actually. But
Hmm.
I had something to say. I completely forgot what I was gonna say. But yeah, halfway size is just they have two great bigs. And not only
Yeah.
are they tall, like Lincoln and John Sline, they probably outweigh Joey Coro by maybe 20 pounds. Lincoln does, and that's not even talking about Sline. So I
Yep.
mean, they are gonna be a struggle for Lob City, but in the end of the day, Lob City is a better 3 point team, and they're going to
Hmm.
try to beat you by shooting threes. So I think you have to either catch them on an off night or just absolutely lock them up from three in order to
Yeah.
beat them. And they would have, if they had scored 3 more points against the Boston Blazers, it would have been 100 to 50 wins in a row for them to start off the season. But I remember what I was going to say about the Duyes boys. So they
Oh
played
yeah.
a lot of these new teams, the Blazers, the
Hmm.
Duyes boys, everybody but besides the Pizza Rolls and the Alaska Bullworms who played each other, they've played good teams. They
Yeah.
play like the Duyes boys played you guys. You guys are a very good team. You guys have always been kind of a like
Middle of the
third,
pack.
fourth team in the league, third,
Yeah.
fourth, fifth, and then you added Dave.
Hmm.
And then they played Lob City. So we really can't see you haven't really seen any of the positive things come out of these
Yeah.
teams yet because they haven't
Exactly.
been able to showcase them.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree with that.
Same with the Boston Blazers. I think they're going to be good too. And
Yeah.
I saw that game. Wow, it was a smooth transition. I wasn't even trying
Yeah.
to do
I just
that.
wanted to say something about the crooks. I think well, obviously adding Brett Cody is huge for them.
Yes, yes. Oh yeah, I
And
wasn't. We'll talk about that game actually. That game came first. We'll
yeah.
go in chronological order. That was almost the same margin of victory as
Hmm.
Lob City, 90 to 50. And I was talking
Yeah.
to Joey after the game, and he was like, "When do we ever start hot?" And
Yeah.
they
Right.
started insanely hot, 51 to 15 at the half.
Yeah. And almost everyone on their team was in double figures. They had 5 guys in double figures, and then Zach Marikas had 9, and Kamish had
Joey
8.
Joey had it. Yeah, I said that after the game. I was like, Joey, you were one of only two guys without double figures. I'm going to
So a
mention that in the
very
podcast.
very balanced attack from halfway crooks, which is really big because having depth is huge in this
Mhm.
league. And yeah, I mean, Mike Wilbur as your fifth leading scorer is a really good sign because I know he was huge for the Crooks
Yeah,
last
he's a
year.
very talented guy.
Jared Hansen at 13 on 66%, Brett Cody 15, and then John Stein and Dylan Lincoln. So these guys, I think they're legit this year. I mean, I don't think that was the case in past years with the Crooks. I think they were always good. Like they were kind of like us. They were always
Yes.
good, but I don't think anyone ever would have thought they'd win it all. But now I think they have potential to win it all.
I think they are exactly like you guys and the halfway crooks kind of are very comparable. I mean, you guys are
Mm-hmm.
both middle of the pack, and then you added someone who will probably make the All-Star team. I know it's very early, but you both
Yeah.
added some very good players. Brett Cody with 15 points, 7 of 11, and
Mm-hmm.
what he does is I remember last year we would come on the Low Post podcast every week, and we talk about the halfway crooks and say, "Oh, Hanson's really good. He should shoot more," and he's not
Yeah.
comfortable doing it, and now he doesn't have to. And you
Yep.
have that front court that we mentioned of Lincoln and Sline. And now
Mm-hmm.
you have the back court of Brett and Jared. And when
Yeah.
it's those four out there, I think they have one of the better matchups towards Lob City. Granted, I'm not going to come on here and say someone's going to beat Lob City. I will never
Yeah.
say that. Even if someone does beat Lob City, I'll come back next week and say Lob City will win because they're like the Patriots of this league.
Yeah.
It's like that. And pizza rolls, I mean, like I said, you really can't judge them. I didn't see their first game against
They
the
played
Alaskan
Alaskan
Bullworms,
Bullworms.
but
Yeah.
they were just ridiculously outsized
Yeah.
by the halfway crooks. And
Yeah. It
probably
felt like, I mean, looking now, it felt like the Peace Rolls could use that opportunity to win against the Bullworms last week when they were playing them. I know they had a double-digit lead in the first half of that game, and it stinks to lose that game and then have to play the halfway crooks, which, like you said, is a game that they just feel outmatched.
yeah,
So
and
now they're 0-2.
I don't want to be rude, but that's probably your best chance for a win.
Yeah, thus far that was their best
That's so
chance.
far, and like you're gonna play a lot of you play them week one. That just means you're gonna play a lot of better teams
Hmm.
on in the season. And you might be looking back at that saying like we really could have
Yeah.
used that win, but you don't want to be like that in week one. It's kind of like a paradox.
Hmm.
But
So moving on, we
yeah,
have well, we'll talk about the Bullworms and the Skyhookers.
so you've
That was on
seen
my
the
court at 10 o'clock.
Skyhookers
Yeah.
before. You played against them.
Yep. I think they have a little bit of a different team than the very first season. Um, but they still have that core. Brennan O'Donnell. Um, I'm trying to look at it. Kevin Redmond was there. Zach Ward were three guys I remember from the first session, and then their big man Chase Almond. He was actually really impressive to me in this game. I felt like he dominated the
Yeah,
Bullworms,
the
and
Allman brothers,
yeah,
Zach
both
and
of them
Chase.
actually. Yeah, yeah, they both had 11 rebounds. I felt like they were really key, and they were huge, pulling down 22 boards combined. There's a lot of rebounds in this game, anyways. The Skyhookers had 44, um, Bullworms had
You're
27.
gonna have a lot of rebounds. The Skyhookers had 74 shot attempts,
Yeah,
and the
they
Bullworms put
planted.
up 59 shots. I'm gonna do that quickly in my head, and that's 133.
Yeah, they put up. The
That's a
Skyhookers put up
lot,
very fast pace, so I think that's something interesting to watch
and neither of them shot
because
over 50% too. So that's just a lot of
yeah,
clanking. That's what's gonna. I mean, if Missoula listens to this podcast, which he doesn't, that's what's gonna ruin your rims, dude.
yeah. Um,
What
but
did
yeah.
you What did you see that was promising though from either of the teams? I know you said the Skyhookers core is very
Mhm.
good. They have a very good front court, but
Yeah, we
do they
haven't.
have that combination of front court and back court that we were just talking about with the halfway crooks, or is there still some work to be done?
Yeah, I think the Allman brothers are kind of emerging as that front court presence that they were lacking in the first season, and we got to see the best of Brendan O'Donnell. I'm trying to remember who they played in week one.
They
Um,
played boom.
oh, they played Boom, but yeah, so he had a rough game week one, and then this game he had 16 points, but he can go for 30. I'm pretty sure he won Offensive Player of the Year in the first season. He was averaging like 26 or 27 points per game, so he can get that it factor that he'll take over games that we haven't seen yet from him. So that's something to look out for with the Skyhookers. They obviously will probably be in the middle of the pack, along with teams like us, Boom. I would even say Boston Blazers will probably be in there too. And I'm not sure the Alaskan Bullworms. They're missing. Justin Simmons came in he played like 2 minutes, and then he said he wasn't feeling good or something. It wasn't his ankle, but he said he wasn't feeling good. I think he was sick, so he didn't play. So that might have affected how the Bullworms played.
Mhm.
But that game could have been closer if he played, because I know he was big for them in week 1. So I'm not giving up on them yet. But this loss, they could have won if they probably had him. They would have been a lot closer, I think.
Okay, respectable. And then the new Swish Kebabs.
Yeah, I
They
didn't get to
played
see
at
that.
10 o'clock, and I think I think they're gonna miss the presence of Tajon Massey and Marquise. I think
And
Jones was his
Randy,
last name, and Randy too. Oh, that's a big one. I loved Randy.
yeah,
He was really good. But
yeah.
Barbosa for 15, Jacob Mello for 14. He was a little guard.
Mhm.
Greg Bell had 14. He was doing his usual
He had a nice
dunking and
stat line.
post moves. They had
14. He had 14, 10 boards, 5 assists,
Yeah,
4
they had
steals.
he played really well. They had five guys in double figures, but
Yep.
it looked like it took them a bit to kind of figure it out.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Ellis made his debut. He went 0
Yep.
for 1 with a missed three,
Yeah.
two
I'm
assists
looking
and a
forward.
rebound.
Yeah. Um. But obviously, I want to know what you think of the Blazers, because they looked a little rough in week 1. Obviously, they played lob, so
I think the
tough to come into a
Blazers
league
are.
and play lob
I
in
think
week
they're
1.
there with the Duyes boys as the better new teams,
Yeah.
and I think they have size. They have a couple of very good athletes. They have Corey Strickland, who knows he can run.
Mhm.
Evan St. Pierre is very big. He's a tall guy, and he's a shooter too, 3 for 5 from three.
Yep.
And then James Mitchell, when it was like Batman versus Superman with James Mitchell and Greg Bell, because
Really.
they were both similar body type. They were
Mhm.
both big men, and they were both going at it in the post after every rebound. Both ended up with double-digit boards,
Mhm.
and they looked they looked a lot better this week than they did against Lob City. Granted, it's because they weren't playing Lob City, and
Yeah.
I think they showed some promise. I think in the fourth quarter, I think the teams that are experienced in this league, and I think players like Barbosa tend to shine, and that's what
Uh-huh.
happened in the fourth quarter. And we've seen it with Tyler before. I mean, he's
Yeah.
been very good at closing out games in the fourth quarter. I think he
Mhm.
did it against you guys. I don't want to be mean,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
yeah, he's got that ice in his veins. He's got that it factor late in the game, and that's what helped. But I think if these two teams go at it later in the season, I mean, which they won't. If these teams go at it in the playoffs, it would be a different story. It could be
You
a different
think
story.
you think that the Boston Blazers are comparable to the Bucket Chasers of last season? You think that's kind of a fair
Yeah,
equivalent?
yeah. I'd give the Blazers and the Duyes boys both
Like
bucket
a,
chasers
yeah, a new
equity.
team that may not compete for a championship, but will give teams the tough time.
Yeah, they'll give fun games. Like they'll have
Yeah.
fun games. They'll have their money's worth in this league.
Yeah,
And
and this game looked like it was a fun game. It looked like it
yeah.
was pretty close throughout all the way through.
Did Shake and
Um,
Bake win a game? I can't remember.
no.
Neither did the Joes, right?
Yeah.
And neither did who was
Big
before
Baller
that.
Brand
Big
of
Baller
season
Burns. We've
1.
had
Yeah.
we've had a winless team.
3
We've had
seasons, 3
undefeated
winless
teams.
teams. Yeah.
Do you think we have that again this year? This is our cue the music new segment. Way too early predictions. We're gonna do this every session, week 2 to 3.
All right. So do I think we have a undefeated team? Was the
we, we
first part of that question?
Yeah, will we have another? Will Lob City go undefeated or boom?
I would
You're only
say,
2-0, halfway swish.
yeah, I would say we probably do. I don't actually. Yeah, I'm gonna say Lob probably goes undefeated. That being said, it's not a given that they win the championship. I'm waiting to see how that game against Halfway goes. I also don't know how good Swish is yet. I haven't seen them play. I know they play us next week, so that'll
Uh,
be a good measurement.
I think Swish's team last year would
Hmm.
beat Swish's team this year.
Okay. But even still, I think Swish has the size and the
Yes,
pieces that will give Lob a tougher time than most teams in this league will. Boom, I don't think will go undefeated. I think that ends next week when they play Lob. Um, it's not a disrespect to Boom, but
that game just doesn't have the hype around it as it used to.
yeah, I just don't think Boom has the team identity to beat Lob like they did
It
last
it
year.
makes me sad that I'm not like kicking my door down for Boom Lob this year.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of definitely a different mood going into it next week. Not as much hype, but nonetheless, I think it'll be a game to watch. I
Yeah,
don't think it's
that'll
going to
be
be a blowout. I think it'll
it's
be close, but
it'll be the best team Lob has played so far.
yeah.
So it'll be their first game against a good team.
Hmm.
The guys, a lot of the guys on Boom know what Lob does. They know how to guard them. I'm sure Trevor's talked to Jeremy and told him a little bit
Yeah.
about him. It's going to be interesting to see how Cole does against them, and it's going to be interesting. I mean, my prediction is Lucas, but it's
Hmm.
going to be interesting to see who shines as really the star
Yeah,
for who
Cole's
steps up
gonna.
in. It was always Stitchell. How's Stitchell going to do versus Lob? Like what's going to happen with Stitchell is he's going to absolutely take over the game like he did and send it into double overtime. But now it's going to be like, all right, who's it going to be, guys? Who do you think?
Yeah, Cole's gonna have to guard probably Vic, so that'll be a big test for him. They're probably gonna put Belleville on Cody, and then Lucas will be on Greg Holt. I would imagine.
And you put
So
Jeremy on Coro.
yeah, so I don't think Boom matches up terribly. I just don't think they have as much of a chance because they don't have Stitchell out there who can kind
Yeah,
of carry
you're
them
missing
through
that
the.
guy that's gonna that breaks the scoring record. I mean, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You're missing the guy that literally can go for 50 on any given night. Not saying Lucas can't.
yeah.
I mean, you walk in and you see Stitchell and you're like, okay, he can go for 50.
Hmm. Like through 3 quarters against us, Boom was not scoring efficiently, and if that's the case that against Lob, that game doesn't matter if Lucas hits 5 threes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the difference. But
Exactly.
um, yeah, I think it'll be a close game, but I think it'll be a good game. But I think Lob probably beats Boom. Um,
So now
but
here's so I think Lob can go undefeated again too. I
yeah,
think their only real test is going to be halfway, and even then, I still think they have superior 3-point shooting.
yeah, and I think Swish might be able to give him
I
a.
disagree. I disagree. I think Lob takes Swish
All
maybe
right,
easier than they take Boom, just because of the speed. Just
that's
because of
fair.
the speed. So now here's where wow. Now here's where we kind of like make some enemies. We're gonna give some
Yeah.
teams some motivation. You think anyone goes winless? You think we've had it? It's been a tradition. So who's gonna take that O for spot this year?
I think if there was a team at this point that I would have to say goes winless, it would be the Pizza Rolls.
Hmm.
'Cause I think the Jays boys have shown more. Um, I don't know. They just shown
Show
more.
more promise, yeah.
Yeah, so
And I
far,
I
despite
look at the
having to
pizza
play
rolls.
two good
I'm
teams.
right there with you too.
And
I
then
am.
I think the Blazers, I think, in a matchup against the Rolls would be way oversized for them, anyways. So I
Mhm.
think I think that's the main problem with the Pizza Rolls. They don't have a lot of size, so it's gonna
I
be tough
think
for them
the
to win a game without a lot of big men
I think the Blazers get their first win next week
against.
against the Bullworms.
Yeah, I
But I
think
mean, the
that's
the pizza
possible.
rolls, like you said, they don't really have size. Rocco Lombardi's pretty tall,
Hmm.
but he's a little bit shorter than Coro, and he's kind of like the same build as Coro.
Yep. I
So I
haven't
mean,
really
he had
gotten to watch them
21
play, so.
against the Crooks. He was able to get his 10 for 17. He's a smart player. I
Hmm.
know him personally, but I don't think he's going to be able to carry this team. I mean, they
Yeah,
already lost to the Bullworms. I think their next best chance is gonna be
I
Duyer's
think
boys are on a night that someone is short a couple players.
I think Skyhookers they may have a shot, um, just because we really haven't seen that much out of the Skyhookers yet. Obviously, they beat the Bullworms by 20, but like I said, Bullworms didn't have Justin Simmons for a majority of that game.
Mhm.
It was huge for them in week one. Would that have mattered? I'm not sure, but um, unless O'Donnell puts up like 30, this game could be close.
Yeah, I completely agree. I haven't seen the Skyhookers yet, so I'm reluctant
Yeah.
to give a take. It's just the odds haven't been
Hmm.
in my favor. I
But I think
haven't
the
gotten on the
Skyhookers
court.
will probably win. I think that it's not a given that they blow them out, though.
All right, so you see, it'll be close. It'll
Yeah.
be
I think
so
it's
it'll
like a
be it'll be a
fifty-fifty
chance.
chance it's close. It could be close or it could be a blowout. But I think the Skyhookers take it. Um, but I'm not giving up on the pizza rolls yet.
So
I
where
think
would you rank the 10 teams? I'll let you go first, and then I'll give you mine.
so right now I would say Lob halfway, Then probably
Halfway
Swish.
second. Joey's gonna love you.
Yeah, lob, halfway, Swish, boom, us, Blazers, Skyhookers, I'll go Jay's Boys, Bullworms, Pizza Rolls.
All right, I'll go lob.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go. Yeah, I'll go Crooks. Lob, Crooks, boom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the werewolves and then the swish kebabs and then
All right.
the Blazers and the Duyer's boys, bullworms, pizza rolls. And I think next week, I think you guys with Dave match up very well against the swish kebabs team. You guys have a lot of speed. You can get out and run, and you have a lot of I mean Tyler's athletic, and they have this
Yeah.
one guard. I can't remember his name or number, and I don't want to take too long to look it up. But he's very athletic and very good. And then they have Greg. But I think your three core players plus Connor and Brad. I think Connor's been outplaying Brad this season too. You can tell, Coach, I said that.
Yeah, I think Brad's been a little bit of a disappointment so far, and I mean we're not worried about Brad. He always has a few weeks each season that he looks pretty rough, and then he'll always figure it out and play a lot better by the end of the
It's
season.
not a
So
knock
we're not
on
worried.
Brad. I've just been really impressed with Connor.
Yeah,
this
Connor's
season.
been very good. We're trying to get him not to reach every time a guard blows by him, but it's one step at a time.
He sees it from you and Gino. You guys get away with it. You guys get away with just like poking the ball out when they go by him because you've been doing it. That's where he learns it. But
Connor's taller than most people he's guarding anyway, so if it's like a smaller guard, it's pretty obvious for a ref when he's reaching on him.
Cause he's just so big and so long. But
exactly.
I'll take with him and Brad to go against their front court. I'll take you, Gino, and Dave against their back court. I mean, you never know with Barbosa; he's an X factor.
Yeah.
But that'll I think that might be the most interesting game next week. That'll lead me into our game of the week. Granted, it's the first game. We know Joey did that, so you guys are available to work for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
But and you guys have not seen New Swish yet.
Yep.
Tyler has seen you guys, so he can kind of pass that message on to his team. What are you expecting out of them?
I'm expecting what they normally do, which is a lot of pick and roll between Barbosa and whatever big, and he does a good job as a playmaker of kind of like if you ever watched Houston Rockets play with James Harden, it's similar to a Harden Capella pick and roll or Chris Paul Capella pick and roll, where if our big man shows too much, it's an easy dunk. If not, Barbosa tends to get to the rim pretty easily. And if someone helps, he kicks out to a shooter. So they're a pretty good team, but I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a good game between us.
What's going on? Is your ceiling?
No, whenever Mitch just walked in.
No, I think that the same thing happened to me first post-game show.
Yeah.
I did it at my buddy's house. I made a really bad mistake to do it at my friend's house, and they're all messing with me. I'm surprised the mic didn't pick it up either. But yeah, I will. I think they have some shooters, but I think they're gonna miss Lane out there on the corner. He was kind of a stretch big that could shoot.
Yeah.
And they don't have the athletic ability in their slashers that they had from Marquise and Tejan last year. Those guys were both. It's like they could go for 20 points a night on 10 dunks over someone, and they'd go 10 for 10 with 10 dunks. Like that could.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting to play them.
So I think, and then we got Boom Lob coming up after that.
We talked about a little
bit. I'm gonna take Lob in this one, unless Lucas literally is Steph Curry.
He's gonna be hot for at least half of a game, though. It can't just be one quarter.
Yeah, and him being hot also has to be. Because once he gets hot, they're a very good defensive team. They can take him out of the game. He needs Belleville to get hot and Jeremy to get hot and Cole to get hot too for him to go off. They need to, and they can do it too. We've seen Belleville score 20. You said you've seen Cole play. Yep. Jeremy's a beast on the boards. I think him and Cora were going to match up well.
Surprisingly shot the three really well against us too. He was 3 for 5.
Yeah, it was. His shot wasn't as smooth or pretty as Lucas's, but 3 for 5, just 3 for 5. That's 9 points. But I think Lob takes this one unless all the stars shine for Boom.
Then we got Pizza and Skyhookers at 9. Like I said, I think the Skyhookers probably win that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's close. I don't know how the pizza rolls are yet, so I'm not really sure if this should be a blowout or not. But I think the Skyhookers will probably win.
Yeah, I want to see the Skyhookers play a team like halfway. I didn't see them
Yeah.
play Boom or Swish or you guys just to see where they match up because they played the
Mm-hmm.
Bullworms and they played the Pizza Rolls. I like even if I do see this, I
They
still can't
played
get a good
the
take on how they are.
Skyhookers.
Yeah, they I mean, I've heard good things about them, and then
Mhm.
I think the Blazers take the Bullworms just because of their speed,
Size.
size and
Yeah.
speed. They can
Yeah.
run.
Hmm. Yeah. The thing about the Bullhorns, they play a lot of like half court offense, and like they'll set up and take their time on offense, which can kind of be um, like annoying as if you're playing defense because you just want to be like, all right, take a jumper, we'll get a rebound and then go.
Yeah,
Whereas
it's
like
4-on-4, speed it up.
yeah, like they take their time and they have a big man in the post who they like to feed it to and work out of him. So it could, I mean, I really don't know, but I think the Blazers will probably win.
Now, I wouldn't be shocked. I said the Blazers like to run. I wouldn't be shocked if they switch it up because they've
Yeah.
spent 2 games running and
Hmm.
they've lost by a combined 87 points.
Yeah, but
So, I
they've
mean,
also played
maybe this half court
well.
offense will benefit them a little bit. Maybe this switch of style, but I do think they can outrun the Bullworms. And then at the end of the night, the halfway crooks and the Duyers boys is a little backstory to that is Joey and PJ worked together at launch.
Oh, really?
So that should be a cool matchup. I think
Yeah.
with the size that halfway has until they play another team with equal size,
Hmm.
it's gonna be their game to lose.
Yeah, I think the halfway crooks will probably take that one relatively easy. And the Jays boys, I've talked to them. Um, they are all like, they're not obviously um, frustrated yet because they're like, yeah, we've played three of the best teams, or we're gonna play three of the best teams in the first 3 weeks. So obviously, if we're 0-3, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it only gets easier from there,
Yeah, exactly.
and
So
that's a benefit. Definitely a benefit to looking at it. Do we rank teams 1 through 10?
there are power rankings. I don't think they came out for this week yet,
No,
but
but let's give our 1 through 10 rankings. Actually, no, we did
we
that.
did. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, okay. That's
I was gonna say,
we
you
did that a
losing
couple
it
minutes
or
ago. I knew that. I knew it
yeah,
was. I got deja vu a little bit. So
yeah,
that'll wrap it up
yeah.
for week 2 of the
Hmm.
Low Post podcast.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
actually going to put this one up on SoundCloud this time. I
All right.
apologize for the last one, finals week. You guys know how it is.
Yeah.
So we will see you guys Wednesday night at the Johnston Rec Center from Tyler Krusz and Brian Heston. This is the Low Post podcast. Have a good one, folks.